jazz hands. Hello, everyone, and welcome. In this week's episode, we are covering SharePoint news updates for email and some templating. It's going to be fantastic. The second thing we're going to highlight here that we're going to talk about is some performance improvements in Microsoft Lists, as well as some features and functionality that's coming that may have been promised 8 months ago. And then also we're going to cover being able to easily duplicate Teams, webinars, and town halls. That and many more updates we're going to cover in this week's episode. Stick around. Let's roll it. Hello, everyone. Hello, Daryl.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Good roundup, Daniel.
I invited Daryl to come back this week. So
you let me back into the meeting. Yeah, you haven't got me on a block list. So
Nope, I have not blocked you. I have not muted you. You are on my primary list, so you can stay. And everyone that is here watching and listening, you're on my list too, but my good list. Normally when people say you're on my list, it's a bad thing. No, this is a good list. Thank you,
a good
everyone,
list
for being here. Yeah,
your Christmas card list, isn't it? Isn't it the same?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And our audience is amazing, and we know that, don't we, Daryl? But amazing. Last week we had a lot of people were interested in that new update that we talked about last week on Teams and the behavior for those website tabs, right? It was got a little
quite
wild
impactful. Yeah, definitely. A number of people that shared all the different ways that they use that feature and that there is nothing available to make it behave differently. So
It was so. Since we brought value last week, why don't you go ahead and smash that like button for this episode, and make sure that you're just listening in to find things you want to make comments on, and drop them in the comments below. Hit us up on the socials at 365MCS. We're on all the socials that matter. Make sure you you interact with us as we go through here. And talk about these messages and these updates that have been announced for this week. Please make sure we love seeing those comments. We love interacting with you. So thank you so much.
So Daniel, bring us into the first one. This is.
Yes.
I think this is our headline, so it's a good place to start.
Yeah, no, this is good. Microsoft SharePoint News for email now supports custom template tab settings and wider post, MC710215. Now, let's take one step back and just talk about SharePoint News for email. This is those templates that Microsoft released where you can create a page, a news item, but that is intended for emailing, right? You go through the process, you create the news item, and you say, "You ready?" And then you're able to email that out, and so it's formatted correctly, and it looks great in email. They're bringing this announcement is talking about not only can you do that, but you can create your own templates and have your own custom templates for those items, for for those news items that you're emailing. And just prescribes, hey, you can not only have these custom templates, but you can have them show up first. So if you have one, two, they have three is on the screenshot in this message, and you have a custom template for what you want to suggest people to use when they're creating these, then you can do that and have one as a default. So when they come to it, they'll see all of the options of the templates that are saved on the site. I think that's a great improvement, because as soon as you start allowing this ability to create templates, you gotta have that ability for it to be the default, or at least for users to see it first instead of seeing the other ones, and have that option. So that's great. And then the second improvement is wider emails, right? So Basically meaning, when you're sending email, you're consuming it on all different devices, right? On your phone, on your tablet, iPad, or your desktop with a very large monitor that I have, a wide monitor. And it should work with all those, and being able to have those wider posts. So Daryl, have you used this functionality of sending SharePoint news in email, or seen it in action? And what are your thoughts on these updates?
I have used it, and when it first came out, the templates that we had were more about showing us what's possible. But if we began to use it quite frequently, we were having to clear out the template and then start again. So it's good that we're having custom templates and that we can set our custom template to be a default or appear at the top of the list. I think the really good use case for this is if you've got a communication site that is there for a certain purpose, and maybe this is real case scenario. Sometimes you've got need to know information, good to know, and did you know, or just basic kind of general information. That as you're posting that out, you might want to use a different template for each of those, so it's a visual cue and people can quickly recognize it. So I really like this update, and I also like the extra space for those larger screens as well.
Yeah, and part of kind of the security aspects that people are using internally in organizations is they use images so when people open up an email, they see an image that is the image of the month or whatever for the organization, so they know it's a legit email. I've worked with many organizations that do that. And so having that image be on part of the template, so that you're not having to manage that every time you create one, it's part of the template. You can just plop it in there. It's quite easy.
It reminds me of fun parks that you go to as a family or as kids, where they would change up the colored bracelet, Yeah.
Right. So this is releasing targeted release mid-January, so last weekish, and expect to be completed by early February, so next weekish, or this weekish, I guess I should say. Standard release, GCC, GCC High, DoD, US Sec, and US NAT. Wow, we're listing all of them here. Will begin rolling out early February and expected mid-February. So love seeing this.
Did you say US NAT?
NAT, N-A-T.
I haven't come across that one. What is that?
It's a new tenant type. It's a tenant thing. I don't know, man.
NAT?
I don't know what US NAT. I gotta look that up, actually. It is something
National
I've heard of it. I just don't know what it stands for. Azure Government Top Secret is what it is.
Oh, wow. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
Daryl,
not top secret anymore.
No. If you don't mind, though, Daryl, I would really like to stay with SharePoint in the next update, and I want to do it. I'm going to be selfish.
It's on the list. It's on the list, man.
So, Microsoft SharePoint, just so you know what we're talking about. They put it right there in the title. Updated lists in team sites, lists progressive web app, PWA, and Teams. MC 709979. There's a lot of 7s and 9s in there. So that progressive web app, remember, that's the application you can click and say install from when you're in the browser and you're looking at it. You can click that and it'd be its standalone app on your machine. So this update is actually, and I said it kind of in the promo at the very top of the show, this was actually, a lot of these things were announced in May of last year, May 4th, I believe it was. So the included items that's included in this update that is highlighted in that blog post. So if you'll see a link, you actually see two links to the same place in this message pointing you back there. So the included items are adding a ratings column to a list. Okay. Personally, I don't care about ratings columns. I think they're such a niche thing that whatever. cool. Some people you love them. Wonderful. The drag and drop though of images, being able to, because we can have an image column, right? Being able to drag and drop instead of having to go through the process of adding it the other way is great. Being able to just say, here's the image, put it there, is fantastic, and I'm loving that. Also, in a la, collaborative, when you're co-authoring in Excel, and you could see people clicking around in cells, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. Why are they plopping all around? But we're going to be able to see, if you're co-authoring in a list, be able to see where they are, where someone else is, and what they're editing. So that's fantastic. And the other one that I'm really looking forward to, and that they call out here, is the views as a tab in the list, because everyone knows views gets lost, I think. Maybe not everybody knows this, but I think it gets lost because you have to go and do the drop down of selecting, the view that you want to change to. And if you get, if you're smart or you get savvy, I guess is the way I should say it, the URL changes, so you can copy that special, the URL for that view and use that as a link to it. But now we're going to have a tab that we can click and switch to the view. So I think that's great, being able to see all the views right there and just with one click switch that. You will notice when you take a look at this message and you take a look at the blog post, there's some additional things on the blog post. And I don't know if that's covered in the last two sentences of the first paragraph, or last two words in the first paragraph, which is "and more," or if it's not, we don't know. But these are the ones that I think, I think rightfully so, they called out as being the stronger ones that are coming as part of this post. Daryl, what do you think? Faster lists. Drag and drop images, what are your thoughts?
Just even reading that title, I want to go into a certain song: faster, healer, stronger, more performant. That's not how the song goes anyway.
No.
I think, there's a lot of good improvements that were announced a little ways back. It's good to see them arrive, and I think, what would be my favorite out of that one? I won't say the ratings one, because that might just... I think drag and drop out of convenience to be able to bring the image in quickly and make it as part of the item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So even if it's 9 months later, great. We're still happy to be able to get it in February. There is some items there that if you have done these things to your list, it will not get these. And it brings some questions I have no answers to. So I'll tell you about the things, and then I'll tell you the question, and you'll figure it out, I guess, or we will eventually. Is these improvements will not reach those lists that have a SharePoint framework extension. Kind of makes sense. Share the Power Apps as one word. So I don't know, maybe the Power Apps is 2 words. It doesn't. Okay, I'm just kidding. Power Apps form. So if you have a Power App form, list form. Approvals, and then if you're using the playlist template for the list, it's not going to use that, or it's not going to get these improvements on it. My question is, how long? It seems like these improvements, and I've kind of thought this when they announced this in May, this is kind of like the second version of, or third, I don't know. It's a new version of modern lists. Like it has, different abilities. And different, this whole faster thing. It's like they reworked it. But if they're not going to give it to you because of you're using these things, then does that mean those lists get stuck in the previous version? And for how long do they get stuck in that version of modern, looking and functionality? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'll just throw that out there to the world and see if anybody has any opinions about that. Or knows. Hey, Microsoft people, we know you watch. You're being all secretive and everything. Let us know. Would like to hear your thoughts or the way this is going to happen. Now, this is I don't think I talked about rollout out early February. late February for targeted release. And this is going to sound very familiar. Standard release GCC, GCC High, DoD, US Sec, and US NAT will be rolling out late February till late June, actually. So it's going to be a little while for some of those government ones. So yeah. Speaking of something that's gotten a whole new version recently, can we switch to Teams and talk about some things and updates into Teams?
We can. Yeah, it looks like there's been a number of things waiting for that new version of Teams to come out. So these next round of updates are really addressing, I guess, workflow challenges or changes that you might want to make to Town Hall and webinars. So we'll cover a few of these. The first message is Microsoft Teams, the in-form meeting option updates for webinars and town halls. MC 710212. Okay. Sometimes titles like this are a mouthful. I imagine that they're hard to come up with, but just in simple terms, what we can do today in a Teams meeting, we can open up the options and maybe change a few things while we're in the meeting, or even before the meeting. We can stay within Teams. It doesn't open up a separate web browser tab, and we aren't taken away from Teams for doing that. So that same ability is coming to working with the webinars and town hall meeting types. Good to see that, and it can be quite a useful thing to have when you're actually about to start, or maybe you've got to change up a few options while you're in that event, that you don't want to have to go off to another tab or see things from outside of the Teams experience. So good to see a screenshot to show us what that experience is like, and good to have those options. The next message, it's related to webinars, and that is that you'll be able to reorder registration form questions for webinars, MC 710211. When you want to, registration, there's always going to be some questions you've got to answer. Daniel, what would those questions be?
Name,
ones, of course.
Address, your bank account routing information.
No, not all of that. No. No. First name, last name, email address. And then company. Following that, if you've got any other questions that you add to that, right? So we were joking, weren't we, before this, that this allows you to change the order of the questions, including those default ones, first name or last name. What might you put as the first question, Daniel? Just to ease people into feeling like, oh, this is an exciting form.
What might I ask, or what was it that you suggested? Because I think first name, last name is probably the things I would ask first. But Daryl was a little bit funny and said, maybe you ask, how's your day? Or, I was thinking, what's your favorite color? Those icebreaker kind of things, what's your favorite cereal? I think it's, it really is about, you put them in and you go, oh, that's not the right, we definitely need to kind of reorder those things because it's more important to get this information than it is, this information, or we threw that in last minute, but it really should be at the top or whatever. So being able to reorder those, I think are going to be pretty important.
Yeah, simple update, but quite effective. And when we want to gather information and we've got information that is compulsory, required, like first name, last name, that's good. And you can shuffle things up a bit. So that's rolling out late February 2024 and expect to be completed March 2024. I just realized I didn't give for the last message, I didn't say when was that going to arrive. Shocking.
You just left people waiting. Yeah, you just...
I did, I really did. Sorry, the whole town hall meeting options thing, it's going to arrive. It'll just happen. But tracking back a bit, that last message about being able to change those options in the meetings form, that's a targeted release early 2024 in February and complete mid 2024 February. And for GCC, that'll be rolling out mid-2024, expected late 2024.
That's for standard as well. Yeah. Standard. GCC.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for this last bundle, as we've said, this message is introducing the ability to duplicate an existing town hall and introducing the ability to duplicate an existing webinar. They're very, very similar in terms of messages, in fact, almost identical. And it's really about being able to take that event and duplicate it so you can use all the same details and change up what you need to. And for those of us who might have to create quite a schedule of those meetings, imagine it as a webinar series and there's 8 and you're getting team leads to come in and talk about different things. It's really handy to be able to copy and recreate that same event, change up the date, change up who's speaking, change a few things. So that is super handy. It doesn't really say. Well, let's have a look. It doesn't really say what information it copies over. I mean, I know that there's information in the invite, title, description, things like that. But when you do create something like a webinar, it also gives you the option to put in a list of speakers and their profile pages and all of those sorts of details. Doesn't really jump out at me, Daniel, here about whether those details are copied across.
Well, it does.
It would be good to know.
It says that that last sentence in the first paragraph says you'll be able to edit and update information for the new webinar. So I'm assuming it includes everything, right? That it's going to, when you copy it over, it's going to be, okay, here it is, though. Here's all the information.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I can't read. It's right there. Information includes webinars, details, presenter theming, and more. And more.
And more. See? Well, but that's the tricky part. And more. It's like, you know, when you go and buy something and they're like, you get all these things and more. And it's like, what's the and more part?
I use that phrase in our teaser sentences and our descriptions for our videos.
Yeah. And
this
you want people
more. In fact, you used it at the beginning of the show.
I don't know what you're talking about. And so anyone who's watching or listening should definitely not rewind back to like the 30-second mark.
No.
Don't do it.
I'll put in a chapter mark just for that phrase. Targeted release will be rolling out late February 2024, complete early March, and standard route and GCC will be rolling out early March 2024, expect to be complete late March 2024. For both of those? Yeah, both of them. Teams. Right, let's get away from Teams. Messages.
Wait a minute.
Let's move away from Teams and start using something entirely different. No, Daniel, we want to talk about Outlook now.
Okay.
I know. We got you to start with email and Outlook, but I want you to just bring us back to that.
Microsoft Outlook, OneDrive. Wait, what? Microsoft Outlook, OneDrive for Business opens in Outlook on the web. MC 709988. Now, we have... I got a thumbs up from Daryl for those audio listeners.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. So this one is about quickly accessing your OneDrive for Business files. That's what it says right there. That I read it right from the message. So having that, there's going to be a OneDrive button, a link over on the app bar as you're in Outlook on the web. And when you click it, it says, I'm saying it says and not the way it's actually going to function because we don't, I'll tell you why in a second. It says that when you click that, you will see OneDrive folders and files inside of Outlook for the web for a consistent and fast experience. Now, the reason, first of all, my app bar in OneDrive, in Outlook for the web does not look like what they're showing here in the screenshot. It's missing something. It's missing the to-do checkbox. So it's not even there.
And the Office apps, by the way.
And Office.
Where's the Office apps?
But so it's not even showing it, okay? And the reason why this is important, this is why I'm bringing this up. is because I remember when I said this message says you will see the files and folders in Outlook. That's not how the to-do works in Outlook on the web. When you click that to-do, what does it do? It takes you away from Outlook and brings you into to-do. You don't even get the option of staying in Outlook. It goes, oh, you want to-do?
Really?
Okay, here it is. Yes, it opens it up in the tab that you're in, Outlook for the web.
Well, I think that's changing because it opens in my Outlook experience and keeps me in Outlook.
See, you know what I'm going to say to you, Daryl? I don't think you know what you're talking about. And so I don't want to... This is the way... if it's changing, great. But it's the way it's been since they've added to-do there. You click on it, and it takes you to to-do and in the tab that you were in for Outlook. It's a terrible experience. So maybe that's what's going to happen here. You're going to click out on OneNote. I say OneNote. OneDrive, and it's going to just pop open a little modal window or something to give you access. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I'll believe it when I see it because right now that's not the way it functions for me.
I think it's going to function the same way as Teams does it now. It'll keep you in the app.
Right, but Teams has always functioned that way. Right, Teams has always been you don't run away from Teams even if you click on something. So it's a little different. I don't know. Again, if people come back and they're like, "Hey, Daniel, it actually works," I'm going to say, "Yay, they did it right." But mark my words, this may not work the way it says it does, and if it doesn't, then I'll say. See, I was right. I hope I'm not right. I hope it does work right.
One of your bugbears on this, wasn't it, that you want to be able to open up an email and keep that context there, and then open up files and not be taken away from email.
That's right. But
that's what's going to happen.
I hope.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I hope that when you click on it, it doesn't take you away from the email. Because if I'm in email in the browser, then, and I know a lot of people that do use Outlook like this, then if I click something over here, I'm in Outlook, I want to stay in Outlook. Just because I click on, in this case, OneDrive, I want to look at my files in OneDrive and go, wait, where's that file? I got to see, do I even have that file in my OneDrive to attach to this email? Or I've got an email with a file attachment. Who does that anymore? But I have a file with an email attachment. Do I need to save it or do I already have it in my OneDrive? Who knows?
I'm going to make a feature request here. You know, we talked about this before the show too, where we have the My Day pane that you can show either your calendar or the to-do list, Microsoft
from
To-do.
Outlook on the web, right? Yep.
Yeah, and you stay. You've got like your list of messages, and you can work your way through, but you're not taken away from that to look at your calendar or your basic to-do list. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to have like a OneDrive way of searching through and finding that file, and you can still see your email?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like that. Someone mentions a particular email or a type of file. Sorry. Something about it. And so you click on OneDrive. If you stay in the context, then you can say, okay, what was it they said about the file? What was the name? Where do they think it was? And I can go try to find it. But if I don't stay in the email, then I click on OneDrive and it takes me and it's like, wait, now I need email again. Because I need to remember what they said about that file. Anyway, so I'm going to stop talking because I know it's a soapbox moment here. But I think I'm done. It is rolling out targeted release late January, so now-ish, and will be done early February, and then all environments. They just quit listing all the environments. Now they just say all environments will be mid-February to late March. I want another Teams message. I'm sorry, Daryl, but... okay. Please give us another Teams message. Pretty please.
We can finish on this. It's just an extra special treat just to bring us back to Teams. This is mute on air Available in new Microsoft Teams on Windows MC 709270. You're in a Teams meeting and you mute your microphone, and then you click off to another window to check something that you want to reference in the meeting, and you come back and you go to talk and you've forgotten that you're on mute. Right? So what are you going to do? How are you going to unmute yourself quickly? Well,
call Ghostbusters. Wait, sorry. What are you going to do?
Who are you going to call? I'm on the call already. Ow. This feature within Windows.
Sorry,
11.
folks.
Actually, was it in Windows 10 as well? We looked at this again before the show, didn't we?
Yeah.
So this ability to manage your audio muting from within Windows, so globally, right? Whether you're switching between Teams or other windows or whatever, there is a shortcut key, Windows key, Alt and K. And if you're using an application at the time that is actively using your mic, then that key combination will mute your mic. Fantastic. It's now going to work with Teams. That's the message. But the impact is that it is a global way of muting and unmuting. Now, it's not a most intuitive letter to use, K.
It is
Maybe
not,
because Windows, Alt, and M. I mean, I do that, but I'm on a Mac right now.
Right.
Maybe you could do it, Daniel. It could probably close the application. I don't know. But M for mute would be better than K.
It didn't do anything. I don't think.
It didn't?
Oh, wait. My machine's starting to smoke. So maybe it did. I'm just joking. One thing I would like to it also is that microphone thing down on your taskbar, that you can use that to do the mute and unmute. You don't have to find the window. And
another
you made
button to click?
Yeah, but you made a very good point. Is if you've gone away from Teams and it's under a window or something, you had to look something up. Someone mentioned something, you're about to talk about that, and you're like, oh, I need to bring that up. And that was my typing noise. And now you need to talk. It's like, oh, now I got to find where is Teams. Everybody's waiting on me.
I've got to record a nice little typing noise for you.
Click on the button at the top. There you go. And it'll work. So I this is a small update, but I'm loving it.
Yep. Global mute and unmute. Saves a lot of embarrassment. Doesn't really tell you that you're still muted, but that's cool. That is Daniel's hold music, please. Targeted release rolling out mid-February 2024 and complete late 2024. Standard release begins rolling out March and complete by mid-April. And that is it, man. That was quite a run, and we bundled a few messages together, but lots to talk about, and it's like the year has begun again. People are developing stuff and releasing stuff and then telling us in the message center that it's either being released or we're pushing out the delivery date.
Yeah.
It's all happening like it should. It's fantastic.
It's absolutely. I do want to say that I will be in Miami this week for the Community Day. So if you are in Miami and you want to learn some Azure and M365 and Power Platform and all the things in between, look up on communityday.org. On communitydays.org, you'll see there's a Miami one. It's happening Thursday and Friday. So would love to see you there. And I've got stickers, of course. I'll be handing out stickers. So make sure you say hi. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you've made some comments down below on the video. And if you're on the audio, just grab the URL. Your podcast app, whatever podcast app you're using, has a share. You can click that button and share it off to socials and make comments and tag us at 365MCS. We would love to interact with you. So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening this week.
All right, 3:20 next week. See you again. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.